Good evening, West Coast, Barbados, New Amsterdam, and of course right here on the Quarantine Coast. Welcome once again to this program, Issues in the News, where we discuss the important events that would have taken place in our country. And as I would normally say, we live in a very dynamic society, we live in a very dynamic political climate, and therefore we have a lot of things to discuss within any 1 week period. I want to begin by reflecting on a very successful event which was just concluded last Sunday at Babu John right here in Port Morant on the Quarantine Coast. As you know, we are in the PPP celebrating the 20th death anniversary of our beloved founder leader, Comrade Cheddi Jagan, who died 20 years ago. His contribution to politics in Guyana and indeed politics of the world is immeasurable, and we have in the PPP dedicated the month of March to celebrate his life, to commemorate his achievements, and to remind the Guyanese people how relevant his philosophy is, his political teachings are, and how relevant his life still is, though he has departed to the great beyond some 20 years ago. In this calendar of activities, the event at Babu John has long been a highlight, and this Sunday past was no exception. We had approximately 2,000 persons there, and many of our leaders, including, of course, Comrade Bara Jagdeo, the leader of the opposition and the general secretary of our party, was present, and he delivered the feature address. And it was a speech that gave the direction of where we are going politically in the party over the next year, over the next few months or so. Because Comrade Jagdeo in his speech, as well as Ramotar and the others who spoke, highlighted the atrocities that are taking place in our country and connected to the life of Dr. Jagan to establish that the very things that Jagan dedicated his life towards achieving are still eluding us today. You will recall in the Western trial in 1948 at the graveside of the Enmore martyrs, Cheddi Jagan made a silent pledge to dedicate the rest of his life to fight fearlessly for the working people of this country, to extricate them, to liberate them from the bondage of exploitation and poverty, and to work tirelessly towards building a Guyana where we can live in harmony, where we can live in peace, where there is no discrimination, and where there is democracy. In 1992, when he took office, he pledged to build a national democratic state, a multi-party system where Parliament will become a deliberative forum, where we will have regular elections at constitutionally defined periods, which are going to be free and fair and free from fear, to the building of a society where the constitutional rights of our people will be recognized and respected, and of course to build a society where the rule of law will reign supreme. Those are the ideals of Jaganism and of Jagan's life. 20 years after he is dead, after he has died, those very principles, those very dreams have once again become elusive. Because we are living in a society where the rule of law is under siege, where the constitutional rights of our people are being violated in an institutionalized way by a government that is in charge of the state of Guyana, where there is an erosion of important constitutional offices whose functions are to scrutinize the executive and who by themselves must remain independent and free from influences from the executive so that they can be able to scrutinize the executive in a professional and in an objective manner, where the judiciary remains unpolluted and not interfered with by the executive so that it can give justice to the people of this country and it can declare illegal acts of the government illegal and unconstitutional when the government misbehaves. And also we can have elections free and fair to be held at clearly defined periods as per our constitution. And central to that is an effective functioning elections commission. All these matters now are at a crossroads. All of them, all of these issues. The very thing that Jagan highlighted in his entire life, free our people from bondage and poverty. Bondage is coming again. People's rights are being taken away every single day. Poverty is on the increase as taxes are on the increase, salary is on the decline, cost of living is on the increase, no new investment, no new jobs, the economy is backsliding, the productive sectors non-performing. The cumulative effect of all of that leads to abject poverty, and we are progressively moving in that direction. I say all of that as an introduction so that you understand how relevant Jagan still is to Guyana and to what is going on in our country, more particularly in the political spectrum of this country. And therefore, events like Babujan must continue to take place, but not once a year, but almost every single day. And this program itself is an example and an exemplification of the life of Jagan, the teachings of Jagan, so that you can continue to see the relevance of Jenny Jagan. So, we have to do much more than that annual pilgrimage to Babujan every March, because Jagan has become more and most relevant in recent times. As Ramotar said, once there is racial discrimination, once there is political discrimination, once there is exploitation of our people, once there is abrogation of the rule of law, once there are unconstitutionalities being committed, Jagan's legacy, Jagan's teachings, and Jagan's philosophy will always be alive. And that is what was the central theme running through the Babujan presentations from the leaders who spoke on the platform. Speaking for myself, one of the most enjoyable facets of the Babujan experience Sunday was the opportunity that I got to meet so many hundreds of you who look at this program and who are so warm in your embrace and in your congratulations and in your words of encouragement to me, especially in relation to this program. And I want to tell you, I want to say thank you and to say to you that you have inspired me deeply and you have given me the energy and the enthusiasm that I need to continue this program. So I am very, very appreciative of the sentiments which you expressed to me about how you enjoy this program and how many of you are watching this program. What you can do for me is to ensure that every single person on the Quarantine Coast, in West Coast Berbice as well as East Berbice, watch this program. I even met a group of young men, I believe that they are businessmen, who want me to extend this program for another week, for another hour. They said that they will come and they will speak to the owner of the station so that they can give me another hour to speak on this program. And indeed, I am very, very flattered. So I am happy that so many of you are looking at this program, and this program is having an impact on your lives and the way that you see the events taking place in our country. And that is the only reason why I am doing this program. So it gives me a deep sense of satisfaction, and I'm very humbled by the outpouring of congratulations, outpouring of warmth, and the outpouring of affection which I received from you, and I ask you to continue, please, to look at this program. And that brings me now to the events which are taking place in Georgetown. Most of you who are familiar with and conversant with the social media would know by now of the events to which I am making reference. Today, you would recall SOCU, and I've spoken about SOCU on a number of occasions before, but it's necessary that I remind you of what SOCU is. Roger Luncheon and myself in 2013 established SOCU. I was Attorney General and Luncheon was head of the Presidential Secretariat. As you know, we have obligations which we have to discharge as part of the commercial world in relation to passing laws in our country and establishing institutions to fight against money laundering and terrorism. We in Guyana are supposed to update our laws ever so often to make it reflective of the modern trends that are taking place in the world in relation to anti-money laundering and the countering of terrorism. We're supposed to strengthen our laws at various intervals. And in addition to strengthening our laws, we also have to establish crime-fighting institutions to ensure that the laws are being enforced. Among the apparatus which we were obliged to establish was a financial intelligence unit within the anti-money laundering structure, and that unit is the unit that scrutinizes all the commercial entities operating in Guyana, beginning with the central bank, the commercial bank, the insurance companies, the pawnbrokeries, the cambios, the shipping organizations, the commercial organizations, the private sector commission, and every facet of the commercial world is supposed to be regulated under this framework of which the FIU, the Financial Intelligence Unit, is the center. And when this unit gets information that causes it to become suspicious, this unit called the FIU is supposed to send this information to another unit which we established that is called SOCU. SOCU means Special Organized Crime Unit. So it's a unit that we established to deal with organized crime. And the organized crime in the context in which it was established was terrorism, money laundering, drug trafficking, gun runnings. These are the international crimes that Guyana was supposed to target in its legislation, as well as the agencies that we were supposed to establish to enforce those legislation. So the Special Organized Crime Unit is a unit established only to deal with anti-money laundering, drug trafficking, gun runnings, and terrorism. It has no other function. I established it. I drafted its terms of reference. It came from international directions which we received. So I don't have to refer to anyone on this matter. I am the original architect of the SOCU. I recruited the officers who currently are employed there. So nobody in this country can second guess me when I speak about the functions of SOCU. Nobody, certainly in this government, because only Luncheon and I were the original persons who established that unit. So we know what its mandate was. But since this government has taken office, SOCU has been transformed into a different unit. You will recall in December 2015, SOCU was engaged in a chase, a motor vehicle chase, as a result of which 2 persons got killed. And from that day on, no one understood the new role that SOCU has since adopted. SOCU is no longer what it was created to be. It no longer investigates money laundering. It no longer investigates gun runnings. It no longer investigates terrorism. Those are not its function. SOCU has been transformed into a unit to persecute and to witch hunt the political opposition and the business community. And over the months, or over the last 20 months, I have given you a preponderance of examples of SOCU operating outside of its original remit and mandate. And I have illustrated to you with examples how it has changed and what it has become. So SOCU now goes to the airport and seizes money from businessmen as they take it out of the country. SOCU goes to the airport and seizes people's jewelry. SOCU goes into businessmen's homes at 1 and 2 o'clock in the morning while their children are sleeping, their wives are in night dresses, and their daughters are not properly dressed, drag them out of bed and seize their confidential financial records, their cash, and their gold jewelry. SOCU, that is what SOCU has become. And to call in to questioning and arresting of former ministers of the government, former top public servants of the last administration, and many others who worked under the previous administration. So they are not investigating specialized crimes and so on anymore. They have become a political unit. Joe Harman said to us in the parliament that SOCU answers to the office of the president. So SOCU takes political directions. SOCU is being financed by monies coming from the office of the president budget. So SOCU is being financed by the political directorate of this country. The Commissioner of Police, C. Lal Prasad, has repeatedly said that he is unaware of the operational matters upon which SOCU is engaged. Now, having established that backdrop, I want to update you now on what SOCU has done over the last 2 days. Friday, Soku sent messages to us, the leadership of the PPP, that they want all the persons who were allotted house lots in what is now called Pradoville number 2 to attend Soku office coming this week. That is the information we got last Friday. So as the attorney at law for all these people, I wrote Soku. And I said, look, you already have these people in the High Court because Soku has sued people, well not Soku, but Soku, like Desmond Trotman, an employee of the Office of the President, has sued all those people, claiming that they violated the Constitution and they took house lots for themselves. And those cases are pending. And now, not being satisfied with that, Soku now wants all these people to take them to Soku headquarters for questioning. So I wrote them and I said, look, these matters are already in the civil courts. And I am not sure what you are investigating. However, my clients are prepared to cooperate with you. But you can attend the leader of the opposition office where all my clients are going to be available, and you can ask them whatever question you want, and they will determine whether they will answer your questions or not. I sent that letter off today, this morning. By 1 o'clock this afternoon, while I was at the leader of the opposition's office with Bharat Jagdev, Roger Luncheon, Priya Manikchand, Jennifer Westford, and a few others, Soku officers descended upon the leader of the opposition's office and arrested Dr. Luncheon and took him to Soku. Arrested Bharat Jagdev and took him to Soku. Arrested Lisa Ramatar, Donald Ramatar's daughter, and took her to Soku. Arrested Robert Prasad, I don't know where they found him, I thought he was out of the country, and took him to Soku. And had those people there for several hours. They have nothing that they are asking that makes sense. The people, all the persons whom they interviewed, their story is very straight. They had applied for a house lot. They were informed by the Ministry of Housing that a land is for sale, a plot of land is for sale at Sparendam. If they would like to buy it, they said yes. They were told what was the price of the land. They bought the land and they got their title. It's as simple as that. It is as simple as that. But it shows you what Soku has become. So they are not concerned anymore, this government, about what is taking place in the country. Look at how many unsolved murders you have right here on the Quarantine Coast. Just over the last 2 weeks or 3 weeks, you have a man who was murdered with a phone card, who's selling phone card. You had a lady who was murdered, the mother. And you have so many other murders right around this village, right around this area. The police are not bothering with those things. But they have the time and resources to spend an entire day asking Jagdev questions and asking Luncheon questions. There are some photographs that I will ask my operator to put up on the screen to show you when they arrested Luncheon and when they arrested Bharat Jagdev today and took them to Soku's office and wasted half of a day asking them nonsensical questions. They have already hired special prosecutors to prosecute any charge that they will file. Basil Williams have put aside $100 million in the budget to prosecute. And the prosecutors that they have hired, 2 of them are now running Basil Williams' office, 2 of them are running Joe Harmon's law office, because they have become ministers, so they left their law office. And these guys are their cronies. Lawyers work in the profession, and they are running the offices in the absence of these Basil and Joe. You have Nicolette Henry brother, Minister Nicolette Henry brother, Patrice Henry, he's another one. And you have an Assistant Commissioner of Police, retired, his name is Somersault, and Michael Somersault, and he was on their list of candidates. So these are the special prosecutors they are hiring. They don't want the state prosecutors to prosecute these offenses. So you understand what is happening here? Government is taking over the criminal justice system. The Constitution, through a doctrine that's called separation of powers, separate these things. And if they intersect, then it becomes unlawful or unconstitutional. So the judiciary cannot become the government. The government cannot become the criminal justice system. And the parliament cannot become the government. These things are to be separated. The Constitution creates 3 branches. The judiciary, under which the criminal justice system falls, the executive, and that's the government itself, and the parliament, which is made up of the law-making institution. And as far as possible, these functions are to be clear, and they must not pollute each other. They must not intertwine in no form or fashion, or else it becomes illegal. Well, this government does not care about that. So the government is doing investigations. The government hires they don't buy with the police force no more. The police force is not doing anything with this. This is so cool. Their own people who they put there, that they are financing from the office of the president, and they are giving instructions from the office of the president who to investigate, when to investigate, what to investigate. They are funding them, they are paying their salaries. Now they are hiring the old prosecutors outside of the DPP office, which is what the Constitution says is the office that should be prosecuting these offenses. They disregard the DPP. They don't have confidence in the DPP because the DPP is not their lackey. They can't instruct the DPP, charge Jack Dale, when the DPP says, but there is no evidence. So they want people, when they give a direction, it must be carried out. So they get their own cronies, their own friends, that they are paying $100 million to, so they can charge these people. And as I predicted 9 months ago, you will see eventually that they will want to set up their own court system, where they will put their own magistrate to try the case. And after that, we will have no justice system in the country. Every day, they are intimidating the judges of this country. Every single day. Basil Williams behaves like a thug in every courtroom that he goes to, threatening judges that he will do this and he will do that, and the president this and the president that, as though he is the first attorney general ever this country has seen. This man is so stupid that I don't know what else I can say about him. But he intimidates the judges. He cusses down the judiciary when they don't rule in favor of the government. Remember when the PNC was in office, they abolished appeals to the Privy Council because they wanted to control the judiciary in Guyana. And when they finished, when they abolished the appeals to the Privy Council, then they take the flag of the PNC and they put it on top of the Guyana Court of Appeal building to show you, the people of Guyana, that you can't go there for justice because they control that court. Well, they are working assiduously hard to return Guyana to that same position, where they will control all the judges. So when you go to the court system for justice, you can't get it. But that will only happen if we, the people of this country, allow it to happen. And therefore the PPP is there, and we are prepared to lead this struggle, as we are doing now. As we said today to the press, charging our leaders and charging us will not intimidate us, will not silence us, will not prevent us from speaking against the ills of what is taking place in this country, will not stop us from exposing the illegalities and the atrocities of this government. We will not stop. But we need you, the people's support. And when we call upon you to come out in the streets, you must be prepared to come out in your thousands. Because in almost every perspective that you want to look at it as, no matter which lens you want to look at it through, whichever perspective you want to look at it from, Guyana is backsliding. Guyana is backsliding. And that is why Jagdev said, at Babu John, swallow your pride and embrace every single person who want to come under the umbrella of the PPP. And that is why, as detestable as some of you may find it, we have to accept the Ramayas back in our fold. Because in numbers we will succeed. And people make mistakes. And I have said to Ramaya that if you want salvation from the PPP, if you want us to embrace you, well then you have to undo the damage that you have done to this country. And he's a Hindu, he understands that. He has to do his karmic duty. And that is the responsibility of all those who have caused us to be where we are. As I have said many times, we in the PPP are not a pack of angels. We are not. We have made several mistakes. We have recognized some, we publicly acknowledge some, and perhaps we are still blinded to some. But in time, fortunately and hopefully, we will recognize them all and we will rectify them. But those are small matters compared to the direction in which our country is going. If they succeed in breaking the back of the leadership of the PPP, if they are able to succeed in silencing Bharat Jagdev, silencing Anil Nandlal, silencing Irfan Ali, silencing all of our leaders, Frank Anthony, Priya Manikchand, Zulfikar Mustafa, all of us, if they are able to silence us, can you imagine what will happen in this country? Just close your eyes for one moment and imagine Guyana without the PPP. It is a horrific reality. It is a horrific reality. And that is why from every front we must speak and we must rise up. Look at what is happening in the sugar sector. There is absolutely no basis, and we have given them the statistics. They are throwing away money, but they refuse to put that same money in the sugar sector. They give Isu Prasad $80 billion in write-off. $80 billion in subsidies to Gaisuku can keep Gaisuku alive for another 7 years. And if you keep Gaisuku alive for 7 more years, things in the world will change. And if you continue to work in correcting the problems within a 7-year period, we may very, very well solve all of Gaisuku's problems. We persevered with the bauxite industry from 1992 that Hyde said he would close it, until 2001 when we brought in Rusal and we brought in the Chinese to take it over. And today it has assumed profitability. But it didn't happen overnight. We subsidized it for nearly 10 years. They can't subsidize sugar for 2 years. But they can build a white elephant at Durban Park to sport. They can hire 3 jets, 3 private jets they hired to go to look at an airport opening in St. Vincent. The president is currently in the Bahamas, chartering 2 private jets. He has gone there. Where are we getting money for all this thing? And Harman is telling us we must use an envelope twice. But Thursday, they are taking a bill to the parliament to pay Hamilton Green pension at a rate of $3 million per month. $3 million a month. That is the same package. That is how they calculated the pension for Jack Dale. Remember? They told the whole world that Jack Dale getting $3 million a month. Well, the identical package they're giving Hamilton Green. And he was not even president. He never served as president. He served as prime minister 35 years ago. The people whom he served are all dead. They're all dead. And he is the first man whose pension will not be calculated based upon his salary. Every other human being in this country who qualify for pension, their pension is linked to their highest last salary. That is what the law says on pension. You retire and you get pension at your highest last salary. Every person in this country who works know that. Not for Hamilton Green. He gets a special package, suddenly equivalent to that of presidents. And he's not a president. So on what basis are you giving this man salary to that extent? It is illegal, it is discriminatory. It is discriminatory. Any Tom, Dick and Harry can go to court tomorrow and file a constitutional motion and quash that legislation when it comes. And Hamilton Green will not get a cent. And this bill is not even for former prime ministers. It's not a former prime minister bill so that it will apply to other prime ministers. It's a Hamilton Green bill. It only applies to Hamilton Green. It does not even apply to Nagamootoo. And Nagamootoo, the scamp that he is, wants the bill to apply to him. But it doesn't even apply to him. Not that he deserves it. He doesn't. But it does not even apply to him. A special bill, how more vulgar can you get? How more vulgar can you get? If they want to worship Hamilton Green and they want to give Hamilton Green a gift for how he served the PNC or whatever it is they want to give him a gift for, well, let them take it out of their salaries. They are earning enough. There are 27 of them and they raise their salary 50 times more than everybody else. So each one of them taking home $1 million. Let them, each one of them, give Hamilton Green $100,000 from their salary and he will end up with $2,700,000. And it's as simple as that. If they love him so much. But the people of this country cannot afford. If you are telling people that they can't keep on their lights, that they must use envelope twice, then on what basis you are doling out the people money, you are telling the people to save, but at the same time you taking their money without their permission and you paying Hamilton Green? It simply doesn't make sense. It makes no sense. And then the poor rice farmers at Region 5 are requested to pay increased drainage charges and increased rent for their lands to up to $15,000 per acre. They are raising it from $2,000 to $15,000 per acre. and they can't assist the farmers to get market for rice. You're not prepared to help them with seed paddy. You're not prepared to remove the VAT on any of the products, any of the inputs of the rice industry. In fact, you have put VAT on it because it didn't have VAT on heavy duty equipment. You didn't have VAT on combine. We didn't have VAT on tractor. We didn't have VAT on plow. You put VAT on plow. And then on top of that, you can't help the people get the market. You go and cost down Venezuela. You cause them to lose the market in Venezuela. And now you can't find a replacement market. And instead of helping the farmers out, you are increasing their rents and increasing their D&I charges. And then on top of that, you're taking away their leases. You are revoking their leases so that you can give your friends and your families. Is that fair? Is that fair? So irrespective of where you turn, this government is mocking up. Look at what they're doing in the private education system. Private education system. We had VAT since 2007 in this country. We removed all medicine, healthcare supplies, all health services from VAT. We never put VAT on that. Education services, education equipment, anything in connection with education, VAT-free under the PUP. These people are now imposing VAT on a host of educational materials, but worse, on lesson fees, on tuition fees for children. You know what is the excess money that they are receiving? Although they lowered the VAT from 16% to 14%, they have increased the width of the VAT to include so many things that did not attract VAT, including government spending, that they are collecting extra about $50 billion more than they should be collecting just in VAT. Just in VAT. And you can give Gaisuku a few $billion, 2-point-something billion to bring back Wales Estate. That is all it will cost. 2-point-something billion to bring back Wales Estate. Although they have laid off the sugar workers at Wales, I took them to court. I represented Nasi and I represented Gau, and I got court orders compelling Gaisuku to sit down with the unions to work out the severance package for these workers. Only then did they go to the negotiation table to negotiate with the unions for the workers' severance. And up to now, though they have negotiated, they are refusing to pay the workers their severance pay, which they negotiated and agreed to pay. So how these workers are going to live? How these workers are going to live? You knocked them off. You didn't want to pay them their severance. They took you to court. You agreed in front of the judge, and the judge ordered you, go and negotiate with the unions. You went to negotiate with the unions. You agree on a package. Now you're refusing to pay. But you're paying Hamilton Green pension. On what basis is Hamilton Green entitled to pension more than those people are entitled to their severance? Tell me. Hamilton Green is about 90 years old. Those people got children who are going to school and who you're putting VAT on their education. So, the priorities of this government is totally upside down. Totally upside down. I have been asked by the RPA, the Rice Producers Association, to remind the rice farmers that Wednesday coming, that's tomorrow, There will be a protest against the land rent increases at the Ministry of Agriculture. So I am reminding you, all the rice farmers, come out. If it is possible, put your tractor and your combine on the road, block the road, and go out and join the RPA in the protest against the land rents. There is absolutely no need to raise the land rents. Absolutely no need. Not at all. I don't understand. This a government's role. What is this government's role? I don't understand what it thinks its role is. Every government's responsibility is to help, to assist, to mold, to nurture the productive sectors. So that when the productive sectors are slowing down, the government is supposed to fertilize it, give it an impetus, give it some kind of invigoration of energy so that it becomes re-energized. That is the role of a government. This government, when a sector gets a little ill, like how the rice got its problems, this government stamps upon it to kill it, as it is doing with the sugar, as it has done with the construction industry, as it has done with the logging industry. Forestry is dead in this country. It is killing the mining industry. It is killing the private school industry. It has almost killed the sugar industry. The rice industry is on its way to death. I don't understand. And you don't see these ministers. You don't see them. When was the last time you see a minister in Morbiz? When was the last time you see Ramjatan in Morbiz? Or Nagamutu? Or the president? Or the minister of health? Or any of the ministers? They don't come out of Georgetown. They don't. This country runs on autopilot. Autopilot. And notice what is going on. In 2 weeks' time, Guyana has taken 5 loans from the IADB, from the Inter-American Development Bank. 5 loans in 2 weeks. I cannot believe in 20 short months, the PN, it is as if nothing has changed. And that is most of these people are new. They are new compared to 1992. But I have never seen a political party that has not changed an iota since 92. Borrowing was its luck, was its hobby, until Bonham borrowed all the money available. Bonham bankrupted the Caribbean Development Bank. He bankrupted funds that they had in CARICOM. Bonham borrowed out everything. Every credit line facility that was available in the Caribbean, Bonham borrowed it out. Until we couldn't get loans anymore. We couldn't get loans. And I know how it had to go to IMF and get austerity measures, and how and IMF put down some sanctions, and how it had to carry out. Dismiss public servants, devalue the dollar, close down ministries. Because that was the only option he had. They had borrowed and borrowed and borrowed and did not pay. And we are on that same trajectory once again. And it is happening so quickly. 5 loans in 2 weeks. And what do we have to show for it? They have increased taxes and public fees in every single area, 200 in number. Every single tax they have increased, and every single fee, every fee, a fee to every single fee, every single licensing fee increased by thousands of percent. It's billions of dollars these people are getting. And they're still borrowing. And still there's no money in the treasury. Still they can't help the sugar worker. Still they can't help the rice farmers. Instead they're taxing them and they're raising more rents. Where is the money going? Where is this money going? I don't understand. They're not doing anything for the economy. They're not helping anybody. Look at the East Bank, Berbice Road. Look at the East Bank, Berbice Road. The worst it has ever been in the history of this country. It was bad under us. When we left government, we had negotiated a European Union loan, and that road was supposed to have been fixed like since 2015. We left the money there. For the East Coast Highway, which had started under us, we left the money there. 2 years after, nothing happening. The West Coast Road from Breedenhoek to Parika, we left the money there. That road is not being completed. The road from Peters Hall, from Demerara Harbour Bridge to the Chanijagan International Airport, that road is still incomplete. So what are these people doing in government? What are they doing? They're hiring private planes and they're flying around the Caribbean and the world with their wives. And each one of them purchased a Land Cruiser. Nagamut was a Land Cruiser for $22 million duty free. That is $100 and something thousand duty free. You know what is that? The Land Cruiser, that's 4 televisions in it. 4 televisions in it. Custom made for the Prime Minister. And this is a man who said that he's a Jacobite. That he will never travel first class. He will never travel first class. And that is why I would normally say that the greatest lies, the greatest fraud ever perpetrated against an electorate was the fraud perpetrated against the Guyanese people for the 2015 elections. Every single promise made has been violated. Every single one. Mybi Curie Mandir, and I know the people of Lagbush watch me every single week. Mybi Curie Mandir South will have a function on the 25th of March when they would be unveiling some new murti. And they are going to have a 3-day yajna, I think. And they want the public to be aware and to be there to participate in the ceremony. So on the 25th of March would be the big event, which is the opening of the mandir and the unveiling of the huge murti that they have. I think it's a Hanuman murti. But there is also a 3-day jhana that will be ongoing. Mybi Curie Mandir, and they are inviting you to be part of that function. I may be there. They have invited leader of the opposition, Comrade Baran Jagdev. They have invited Comrade Sam Hines. Excuse me, they have invited former President Donald Ramotar as well. I don't know who will go. I will try my best to be there. But please, go down to Mybi Curie South Mandir from about the 25th of March. There is a 3-day jhana during that period. And there will be the unveiling of this beautiful murti at the Mandir precincts. Alright, I will now go to the phone. It has been ringing non-stop since I commenced the program, but there are no calls coming in. Caller, you're in the air.
Good night, Mr. Nara.
Good night.
Yeah, I've been listening to your program. Well, I don't know what will happen with this country if you all don't go take back this country. I don't know, like, the president, like, he put some thing in the ears, not to listen, whatever you are saying, because he not doing nothing right now, only punish people. If you walk all over, you can buy things because things come so dear, and you hear people crying all over because you can afford things now, only tax. And you know, this thing, this Ram Jatan, so he changed everything, our Hindu thing that we have now, Pagwa, everything changed. I don't know if he don't believe God are looking at him. Because if everything we have today now, right, we have everything, he changed everything. And like they do only things not to please people. They go in there not to please people. They only go there to please themselves. You know, where they can have enough money, where they can do everything. And when our former president was there, you see everything was so, you know, everything going good. Still people cry. Today now, they are quite bitterly, you know, because nothing is good. You even hear the Afro-Guyanese are crying now because nobody can favor with what's going on.
Thank you.
You know, so we don't know really what will happen now because if you, the president, we don't have a next president, I don't know what will happen with us.
Thank you, caller.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, the caller made the fundamental point that we have to take the country back. Jagdev and I alone can't do it, and the PPP leadership can't do it. We need the support of every single Guyanese. And I'm going to show you what they are doing to us at the leadership level. But we can't give up. But we need the support on the ground. Put up the Soku photographs operator. Caller you in the air.
Good night.
Yes, good night. Where are you calling from?
Tail Settlement.
Tail.
Yes.
You're right next to me here.
Yeah, right back in the station.
Yes.
Come to the guy who was saying like channel so sugar worker. Where he is?
I don't know.
So you're show now.
No.
If you like the channel, born to plan to get.
Alright. Now look at the screen. That's the officer from Soku who came to the leader of the opposition office today to arrest Dr. Lanchan. That is him in the dark shades, and that's myself and Dr. Lanchan leaving the leader of the opposition's office to go down to Soku. That is us. That is Bharat Jagdev going into Soku. That's the British man who is consulting, who is advising them, and that is us going into the Soku headquarters. That is Comrade Jagdev again. That is Sanjeev Dattadin, another lawyer. All of that, those pictures are in the Soku office. So I thought I'd give you a snippet. We have video, live video clippings and foot shootings that we will show after the program to bring you up to speed, and you can get a better opportunity to see what went on today in Georgetown. Caller, you're in the air.
I'm just on here. Good night.
Good night. Where are you calling me from?
Bath Settlement, West Coast, Barbie.
Good, good. Bath Settlement. How are you?
I'm good. I'm just trying to send surprise what Soku has done today.
Oh, you're surprised? Don't be surprised.
Okay.
Tomorrow they have another set going in. Clement Rohi, Sheikh Baksh, Priya Manik Chand, and a whole set of other former ministers who have to go in to answer questions.
Our president is fine and he's okay.
Yes. All right, thank you.
Yeah, bye-bye.
So, and that's the point I am making, that we cannot allow them to intimidate us. We have to use these events to galvanize our energy, galvanize our enthusiasm, and make our commitment and our determination stronger to fight the atrocities and injustice taking place in our country. Call you in the air.
Hello, good night.
Good night.
You know, those who are trying to destroy this country with our leader, Barajalio.
Yes.
And every single one of them are trying to do. What they're trying to do now, if they break Barajalio, we can go for a president, then we no election chances in this country. So they're trying to discriminate our leader or ministers there. But they cannot do it. We, the family, one people, one nation, one...
Comrade, the more they try, the stronger we are becoming.
Yes.
Alright? The more outpourings are coming from our people, and the more our support base is increasing, because law-abiding citizens, people who have a sense of justice, who have a sense of right and wrong, they are seeing what is taking place in the country, and they are joining us more and quicker than ever. And that is what we need. So let them continue. We are strong. We will withstand the assault. We will withstand the harassment. But in the end, it will make the PPP stronger, and it will enlarge the PPP family.
One day, one of the supporters of the AFC asked me, people, you know what he told me? That as soon as we have these by them, all the big guys in the PPP parliament, no election can keep in this country. I will go get a man that comes from myself, they're watching and laugh. They said, no way can happen. Our leader, Dr. Bart Jagdi, was kind of like Dr. Jagan for us.
All right, good. Thank you very much, Carl. Yes, so don't worry. We are dealing with the matter at the top. You don't get frustrated. Caller, you're near.
Good night.
Yes.
The parking meter station. If you buy 100, how much VAT is over to pay on it?
Well, VAT is 14%. So, and that's the law of the country.
Well,
So whatever it is that you buy,
I pay around 16% VAT.
you pay 16% VAT.
Yeah.
Well, then you get robbed 2%. Because the VAT rate by law is 14%.
Well, they still charging the 16% on it.
But where you going to pay parking meter?
In Georgetown.
But why you pay parking meter for?
How can your car man buy it? Because you have-
Well, comrade, we are boycotting the parking meter.
So let's see, they still walking with a clump.
No, you don't park where there is parking meter. I work in Georgetown. I am not parking. They're not coming around where my car is. They're not coming around my office. We are boycotting the parking meter. We are saying that they must scrap that project. That is another huge burden on the back of the Guyanese people. Thank you, caller. I have to go now. All right? We'll take one more caller, and then we will close the program. Thank you, caller. You're in the air. Hello? That call is not ready. This is where, unfortunately, I have to say goodbye. Remember that this program is on Facebook. The recordings are all posted on Facebook. Please encourage your friends and families who have missed the program to go to my Facebook page, and you will see the program there, and more particularly to your friends and family who are residing outside of Guyana but who wish to follow this program. Please inform them that the video is available on my Facebook page. Type in my name, Mohabir Anil Nandlal, and you will see my page. If you press like on that page, then all the things that I post on that page will automatically come to you, including video recordings of every single one of these programs. So please join me on Facebook and spread the news around, especially to your family in North America and outside of the country, elsewhere outside of the country, that my programs, these programs are available on Facebook. Once again, I want to thank every one of you for being with me over the last hour. We have had a good and full program, and we have had the opportunity to interact with each other and to discuss the major events taking place in Guyana. Until we meet again, good evening and have a great week. May God bless you. Thank you.